Hey, everyone out there in social media land. Is that probably the best way to describe it? Welcome to our fourth segment. And we today want to talk about choose to challenge. So, when there's challenges comes change, which is actually quite challenging. So, we will go into that in a bit more detail. Just to introduce myself, for those that don't know me, Karen Howe. I'm a human coach. I like to actually think of myself as that. I love working with humans, and I'm an inspirational writer and author. And I would love Charmaine to introduce herself as well.
Yeah, I'm Charmaine. I run Soul Frequency Feng Shui, and I help people to balance and harmonize their lives and health primarily through Feng Shui and everything to do with Feng Shui.
Yay, thanks, Charmaine. So we had such a huge response with our bowls, which was my amateur attempt of doing singing bowls. But what I thought was really cool is about setting the tone for each of our session with the bowls. And, the best thing is to obviously do some breath work with that. But Charmaine's going to guide you through that because that is part of what you do very well, Charmaine. So we're going to do our bowls and then we'll kick into what we're going to talk about today in regards to challenge and change. Over to you, Charmaine.
Yes, we're just going to set the tone again today. As we listen to the bowls, we're just going to do some breath work, which is going to relax our vagus nerve, and that nerve is to do with stress. So we're going to de-stress so we can sync with this bowl. So
de-stress, and that's the bad stress, because there is good stress and bad stress. That's a story for another day.
Yep.
Okay.
So we're going to take a deep breath in and then a longer breath out. Say a breath in, 2, 3, 4, and then a longer breath out. 2, 3, 4, 5. As you listen to the tone, breathe in and hold. Let go for longer. And pause. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out for longer. Breathing on your own as you listen to the tone.
I just wanted those bowls to keep going.
Yeah, you could do that for a while.
Yeah, you could. I felt the change in my body, and what ends up happening, and I know I meditate, not generally always with bowls, but it's actually a shift.
It's a big shift.
Yeah, so it gives me clarity. So I actually I seek that, so then I can start my day or whatever I'm about to do, whether it be writing, journaling, a webinar such as this. So it just gives me that, and brings everything back in alignment.
It's a de-stress that you can do in the car or before speaking in public to just relax your mind so that you do have clear thinking.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thanks, Charmaine. So today we want to discuss challenges. Choose to challenge. So it's so important for us to challenge ourselves. And a challenge world is an alert world. So we're all aware. We raise our awareness. And from challenge comes change. So for me, it was all about seeking change in things that I felt uncomfortable with. If something doesn't seem right or feel right, then change is inevitable. So go with it, go with the flow. So we've all experienced much of this over the last 12 months. I would imagine everybody in the whole world, 7.5 billion people, have all experienced this with the big C word. I can't bring myself to say that overused word anymore, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And it can actually be cancer or COVID. So it's not pleasant. And it's all happening for a reason. Think about it. We have the floods, the fires, COVID, all these things that are happening around us. It's in the face of awakening to a new world. we're just seeing a completely different way of life. It's altering, and it's actually being able to adapt to that. So just to, I guess for you to just reiterate for myself, so I can give you my experience, that I had lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. From a young child and from a baby, I was born, I, did what kids would do. But then when things happen to you that felt very unpleasant or uncomfortable, I withdrew. So then I just got lost in all the noise that was going on out in society, and it felt safer withdrawing. But then in the process of that, I didn't know who I was because I was trying to be something I wasn't. I was adapting to other people, thinking, and I mentioned this before, I like how that person talks. I like how that person looks. I like how that person acts. They're so confident. I want to be them. And I just kept referencing other people's attributes that I wanted instead of actually looking at Karen and rediscovering who I am. So I started on that journey, and I can't tell you how long ago it was. If I was to say 2 years, it would be safe to say I was really on my journey to rediscovering and recovering and clawing my way back. And I got to tell you, that was pretty fucking, I can swear with that, scary, because it brought about so many challenges. But in the end, it brought about some amazing changes. I even wrote my book. Some of you may have already read it, Reclaim Your Life. This was a way that I could identify with who Karen was, be vulnerable, get back to basics, and just take from there. I had somewhere to work from. I had a platform or a clean slate. So that just gives you a bit of my background, and there's a whole lot more to that story, and you'll find it in my book.
Yeah. Yes, and if you hadn't have gone through that all that challenging, you wouldn't have had the substance for your book. So that challenge, if you'd known at the time, was actually your gift or your opportunity to, this is going to push you to write that book and to help others with it. So that was the gift in that challenging time, that you didn't see what it was for at the time.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was just so emotional, so I couldn't see like the trees for the forest. I didn't have any direction. All I was just this emotional wreck.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
life was going against me, I felt, instead of working for me.
Yeah, that's how we feel when we get in that space. But life is all about growth, and if things aren't changing, well, then there's no growth. So challenge brings about change, and change brings about growth. And change is absolutely necessary for growth. And if we're not changing, if we're not challenging, we're not growing. So if we're not challenging, we're not changing. And with change brings confidence and just confidence and reaching those levels, I guess, passing those tests. So every time you challenge yourself, whether it's in sport or emotionally, or every time you face that fear, every time you stand up for yourself or something you believe in, every time you ask the question in that moment, in that scary moment, what is this challenging situation asking from me? Every time we do this, we grow. Every time we accept the challenge that's presented to us at the time, and just be aware and say, this is challenging, this is hurting, this is scary. So every time we accept that challenge, we grow in amazing and extraordinary ways.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's embracing it, isn't it? Yeah,
yes.
That's the challenge, is to embrace it, and to know that when you are stuck, you're kind of sitting in that chair and you need to get to do some exercise, or you need to do that something that is holding you back. It's not easy. I know. I have seen people literally frozen, and it's like, it's so hard. And I was in that same space.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm no guru. I still can. There are times where you still hold back, but this is all about the journey. It's not about the getting there. We're growing as long as we're growing and learning and whatever.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you'll notice it comes in, it comes more and more when you are needing change. And when you read people's books like yourself and lots of other people, they'll say, I was down, I was out, I was broke, and then my husband left me, and then all this stuff happened that pushes them down to that low, and that's their bodies pretty much saying change is needed.
Yeah. And that's where pain and disease comes in if they ignore that change.
Yeah, if you're stagnant as well, like either you'll be pushed to change from everything going wrong, and that's when you say in this moment, what is this? Like you're on your knees in the rain and you're just saying, what is this situation asking from me? Could it get any worse? Instead of saying, how do I get myself out of this? So what is this asking from me? Yeah. So there's those moments, and then if we're just stagnant, if we're not pushing for change at all, well, then this is when we do tend to fall into depression, despair, hopelessness, and dis-ease and pain. And that is literally your heart, mind, and body just begging you for change. It's your message. It's saying, please do something. Do anything. Just something needs to change. And these are my messages to you.
Yeah. And change, I suppose, despite our nature to resent it, we know it's actually good for us. Because Charmaine, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have done this a year ago. I'm sitting comfortably in front of this camera like I'm talking to people if they're in my lounge room. The only difference is I haven't got the glass of wine.
Yes.
I got my water because of the time of the day. But no, truly, I feel like I'm sitting in my lounge room just talking to people. Yeah. And it's such a good feeling. But I would never have done this. I would have gone, what have I got to share with people? What will people, why would people want to listen to what I've got to offer?
Yeah, I've always in the background as well. I was sort of wanting to help people and wanting to share, but not really willing to get out there. But I just know how important it is for people still struggling on their way to be offered that hand, that hand of help. It's something very beneficial. It's a lifeline. Yeah. And there's so many people needing that lifeline where they're at that spot just going, oh, this has happened and I can't handle all the pain and all the emotion and everything. But you can, if you can learn to breathe, center and say, okay, what is this situation really about? Honestly. Yeah.
And that's it. What
empowering,
you've just said.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Asking the question of yourself if you're sitting stuck in that situation.
Instead of blaming, just going, oh, it's the traffic. Oh, it's this person, it's that person. If I hadn't have lost my job, all these things always have a great gift at the end. Even losing your job through Corona and stuff, maybe you'd be pushed to go into another avenue that's more holistic and start an amazing business in a completely different area that's pushing for change from disaster or despair that you think, but it's actually change is a gift in disguise.
And if you feel what I've experienced, Charmaine, you feel this fear it's like a fear, like I am friggin' scared.
Yeah, it's a fear.
It's the right move. You need to do something. If you are scared, it's not because fear of I shouldn't do that. It's actually telling you do that thing that you're scared of, because it's always going to be scary. Every step of the way, no matter how small it seems, it's always going to be scary.
Yeah, and if it's not scary, if it's not big change, well then it isn't really change. And as we said last week, I think you feel that fear and then to do it anyway, jump out that plane, take that leap of faith. So if we can face these challenges head on and strive to conquer them, and this may take many failures at first, and that's okay. So if we can solve that puzzle, figure out what is this asking from me, learn to let go and take that leap of faith, we evolve then to a next level. We rise up in frequency and we glow. We up-level our life as the theme of this show. And by doing that, we experience a greater level of joy and love in the world around us. And that's what facing your fears and accepting your challenges does. So if you're feeling depressed and sick and sad and anxious, if you can face those fears, you will definitely experience the love and joy gift on the other side of that. Guaranteed.
Oh, that's beautiful, Charmaine, and so true. That is so true, because we know change can be messy, confronting, challenging, deconstructing and re-emerging. It's like rebirth.
Yep.
It's letting go of everything you've ever known and learned and surrender. It's really that what we've learned is not necessarily the right way. And it's interesting because in my businesses, I hear people say, but over there, they're doing that. But what makes it right?
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's right. So ask yourself, not the person over there or what they're doing. Ask yourself, does this feel right? Because we've had these learnt behaviors from authority, our parents,
Wounded people.
Yeah.
To unprogram that wounded people
Yes.
Influence.
And what gives the right for wounded people to offer advice? They are not your teachers.
Yeah.
You want to come from a higher place. So people that are actually reaching out, that you keep it real. I mean, obviously there's going to be days, and I shared on my page today, you have your days where your eyes will shine, you're happy, your soul is feeling amazing. And then you'll have days where you feel sorrow, and that's okay too. We're almost afraid to share sadness, and sadness is okay.
Yeah.
You've got to feel sadness to feel joy.
And there's one thing to remember too with what you were just saying just then, Karen, is that people will do this work and then they'll feel they'll feel a little bit of good and happy and everything. And then something extra will happen bad and they'll go, oh, like, why does every time you're feeling good, something bad have to happen? Well, then, or something that lowers you, or something after the good, so that the good isn't continuing. And they always say that. And it's because it means you pass the level. So if you've had a good run and you feel good, and then now something extra has happened, it's like, yes, you have passed this test, so now you're ready for the next test. So embrace that next challenge as,
yes,
yay, I've passed the last test and I was living on this happy frequency, and so now I'm ready to face the next challenge, which is given to you because you're ready. So that downtime after, why does this bad thing happen? Every time I'm happy, see that as you passed, like you're ready for the next level of challenge. So good on you. I see it as that way. I love that.
And when a situation happens and you feel really scared about making that move or doing that test or attending that network or whatever it might be that you need to take that next step. And how often, I know in 99.9% of cases, I have come away after going, that's nothing. What was I worried about?
Yeah.
And empowered empowered as well. Yeah. So each time it just gets easier and easier and easier. And I've actually got a speaking gig next Monday for International Women's Day.
Yay.
I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I know my topic, and a lot of it is around this, about challenges and change. And it is great stuff because we know this is where it's at.
That's why we send our kids or our teenagers away to those camps, those, not actually boot camps, but where they go and they do scary stuff, where they climb up rocks and they take risks, because when they come away from that, they feel empowered, they feel self-confidence because they tried something that could have potentially hurt them, but they didn't die. They were fine, and they climbed this and they scaled that, and then when they get home they're like, oh, I can conquer the world. And then school doesn't seem so daunting because they've taken that risk, they've faced that challenge. That's why we do that. That's why we do those things. That's why you always feel that empowerment after. You get to school and you just go, oh, this is nothing because I just climbed that rock up there, so I can do anything now. That's the challenge, that's the change we get from challenges.
And it's being a little bit brave, just be a little bit brave. You just start small and just make a change every day, create a new habit. And that's one thing I talk about as well in my book, is habit stacking. Create a new habit, something that really it's going to be challenging, and I still even find it out of your comfort zone. And then you just, once you've nailed that, like brushing your teeth, once you've nailed that thing, then add another one and add another one until you just think, wow, your habits are, and good habits, developing good habits, which are going to build your confidence. Love it, love it, love it. Break free from stagnant restrictions. Set yourself free from pressure. Diamonds are definitely born, hey?
Yeah.
A little bit of a rough
diamond. So a little bit of pressure never hurt anyone. Like a little bit of stress, a little bit of pressure, that's where diamonds are born. Anyway.
Yay. Yeah, I know. I like that expression. Hey, Charmaine, I think we're probably, we've been talking for a bit, and what we want to do is actually engage with people. So I want to just talk about your approach to change and tackling the challenges in others' lives. So you can actually achieve that with people using your feng shui magic in people's living space. So you can go to people's homes and you can immediately see if they haven't got, they're trying to get that great job, or they want to sell their home, or their relationships have broken down, or something is not right. And it's quite significant and impacting this stagnant restriction. Then you can actually pretty much work out through their living space and their lives and help them through that.
Yeah, so we can heal your blockages. So change is movement, and without movement, we're not alive, we're not living. And if there's an area in your life, whether it's relationships or money and career, and I think we've talked in other episodes how your home is a reflection of you, and your vibration is a reflection of the world around you. So your home will show where stagnant areas are, and by changing your environment, by healing your environment, you can heal your life. Because last episode we talked about harmonic resonance, and so this is what feng shui does. If you heal your home, you will sync with your home, and it will heal your life in those areas that are lacking or blocking.
And I'm an example of that, actually. So I use Charmaine's services, and we're seeing some great stuff coming together. Our house is facing perfectly, and there's a lot of really positive things. So
great opportunities, as we,
yeah, and it's everything in life. So not just where you sit, where you live, where you work from, it's all one. So it is all one. It's, if you go to a workplace, you've got your workspace, you've got your home. It's wherever you move. So it's, if
all
you're
energy.
feeling, if your work's not quite going the way you want it, or business is not really where you would like to be, there's going to be some blockages. We all know that. So now people can connect with you. I say it's not fooey, it's feng shui. I do believe in this. I have really placed a lot of emphasis on this, and I believe the Chinese culture really know what they're talking about. So this is amazing that you've actually adapted. This was something that you just immersed yourself into, and you did your studies around this. So it's not just something you took from a book and then translated it. It was actually studies that you did. So I know that, and you're very genuine. You come from the heart space.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do this without that. So now your website is there on the screen. I'm going to say soulfrequencyfengshui.com. So that's up there for you. We can put it in the comments.
Yeah, that's my website. So Karen, don't be shy about your book, Reclaim Your Life. You help people find their way, and you consult them on a personal level. I love that. I think you are the poster girl of change, and you're leading by example.
Thanks, Charmaine. Yes, as I mentioned, my background is as a human coach. I transformed, and I feel that I can help others that are feeling helpless and wanting change. We can have a chat. And actually, you know what? It actually costs nothing for a chat. So we can actually do that initial consult, just have a chat. I do have my book that's available on my website. So that is a great place that I suggest if people do want to consult with me to read my book. And it's something that...
very inspirational.
Thank you. And I love my quotes. So you can sign up for quotes as well, my daily quotes. But yeah, I don't really think, is there any more you feel you need to say? I'm kind of feeling that's coming to an end, and it's probably a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I love that picture in the background. Climb that mountain.
Yes.
Behind you.
Yes. Think bigger. Think bigger picture. Yeah. Love to all, sending lots and lots of love. And thank you, Charmaine, for your time again.
Thank you.
And yeah, same time next week, we'll bring about another challenge or change for you. We love it. See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, we're going to talk about more healing next week.
Yeah, I think more going inner, because that's what we did to, I guess, help heal ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Have an amazing day.
An extraordinary day. Bye.
Bye.